Blindness and marriage, do they go together? Let's talk about that. Greetings, sweet things, it's me, Fern Lulham, and I am here to change the way you view your love life. Now, recently I have been hanging out a lot on Google because basically Google is the only place I'm allowed to hang out right now because we're all in lockdown. Yay, what fun! I came across a very important question which I thought I must answer today, and that question is as follows. Can a person have a normal marriage with a blind person? Now, firstly, I really like the distinction of a person and a blind person, like blind people are some kind of new species of beast. Here we see the blind person in her natural habitat. Intriguing, really good watch. I recommend it. David Attenborough, eat your heart out. But let's just gloss over that and move on to the fact that we're now talking about a blind person, as if all blind people are exactly the same. Of course we're not. We're all different, just as all sighted people are different, so are all blind people, and in the same way that if you married two different sighted people, you'd be in for two very different experiences, the principle applies when you can't see. Now we get to my favourite part of this question, which is the idea of a normal marriage. What the heck is a normal marriage? Once again, I think one person's idea of a normal marriage would be completely different to another. If you know the definition of a normal marriage, please could you write it in the comments, because I feel like I need to educate myself before I get into one. Are we talking normal marriage in terms of emotionally stable, healthy and loving? Or are we talking practically how much am I going to have to help this person and how independent are they? So that brings me on to the answer, and the answer, my friends, is just as juicy. You're going to enjoy it. Are you ready? Here it comes. By the time a blind person reaches the point where they are ready to commit to marriage, they have most likely become accustomed to the disability and comfortable in navigating most situations alone. It is difficult to then merge this world with a sighted person, but not impossible! I love this! There's just that glimmer of hope at the end. It's not impossible, it's pretty tricky, but there's still a slight chance it could work. I read that to try and sound like Siri, by the way, the most positive, annoying voice possible. So I'm not sure who answered this question, but what kind of an answer is that? Firstly, this idea that you will have become accustomed to your disability by the time you're ready to commit to marriage. Newsflash, you can lose your sight at any time. You could lose your sight a week before your wedding. Equally, you could have lost your sight years ago, but for whatever reason, you just haven't learnt the skills to become accustomed to it yet. And then, of course, there's everything in between. You could have deteriorating sight. You could have to learn new things all the time. You could struggle. You could have ups and downs emotionally. It's not as cut and dry as that, is it? Is anything in life? If I had to guess what was meant by a normal marriage, in this context, I would say maybe they're asking about independence. How independent could my partner be if they can't see? And the answer starts off quite strong and positive in this regard. Like, you know, they've learnt the skills, they have the independence. But then we twist it round and we say, because they have learnt this independence, they don't want you, some sighted person, to come along and mess with their system. Like, get out. You're just going to ruin their independence. Leave them alone. They would rather just spend the rest of their life alone. Not true. Not true, my friends. But also, this is, again, the case for any couple. We all have our own little quirks, our own little things that we bring to the relationship. We all have our own ways that we like to do things. For example, case in point, let's say I was a really organised blind person. I'm really not. But if I was, I have to have everything just so that I know where it is. Then my boyfriend comes along and moves it all around and, you know, like, ruins the whole thing. Is that or is that not the same situation as just somebody who happens to be organised and fully sighted being in a relationship with somebody who is disorganised and all over the place? You've been there. How many sighted people watching this video have these same issues, have these same problems? It's called compromise in a relationship, if we are wanting to get into a romantic, connected, lovely relationshipy thing with somebody else, particularly a marriage, we are gonna have to accept that they might do things differently and they might need us to slightly amend our ways so that we can get on in harmony. It's just something we have to accept if we want somebody. Women tend to have this annoying thing where they like you to put the loo seat down and keep it down. Does that mean that a woman could never have a normal marriage with a man because he doesn't do that all the time? No, they just gotta have a conversation and be like, hey, gorgeous, looking really fine today, I love you, but please stop doing that. Please, yeah? For me? It all comes down to solid communication, compromise, trust, and honesty. So in answer to the question, as far as anyone can have a normal marriage, yes, you can have that with the blind person just as much as anyone else. And if you are interested in this topic, I have loads of other videos on it, so do click the links and go to them, have a watch, and I'll meet you there. Delving into the mind of Fern Lulham. They have most likely become accustomed to the disability and comfortable in navigating. Oh God. I meant that. I read that. Oh God. There almost aren't the words, but with me, you know there's always going to be some words. There's always going to be quite a few words that I can tell you. Oh God, I have so many thoughts. Firstly, but a normal marriage. Seriously.